Welcome to the show. Those of you who are watching our live broadcast are welcome to the show. It is a very sad day for us, those of us who are working relentlessly for the rights of freedom of speech. This is a very sad day that the author, Sir Salman Rushdie, has been attacked in upstate New York, in Chautauqua. He was about to give a speech at a program, and he was attacked. It's not clear who attacked him, but whoever that person might be, we condemn the attack unreservedly. But this also proves our point that the religion of Islamic extremism is nothing but a death cult. It is intellectually bankrupt. This death cult is totally intellectually bankrupt. Islamism, or extremist Islam, which want to survive relying on the sword, will surely perish. This is already on the way out, definitely from the hearts and minds of those who can think. We condemn the attack on Salman Rushdie unreservedly. This is a sad day because Salman Rushdie, Sir Salman Rushdie, inspired many like me to speak. Salman Rushdie inspired many like me to write. Salman Rushdie inspired many like me to think about religion from historical perspectives rather than from belief-based understanding only. Salman Rushdie's satanic verses came out in 1988 when I was a student of the Dhaka University. I was amongst the students who were rather wanting Salman Rushdie to be tried at the court for writing his book. Now, looking back at history, I find my then position to be utterly shameful, because I believe that freedom of speech must reign supreme. Any belief, any religion, any ideology, any idea which wants to propagate itself must try to do so intellectually, must prove its case intellectually, must prove its appeal intellectually. But we see time and time after that this cult, this death cult, Islamism, it wants to survive under the sword. So we are already seeing it taking its stage out. So far, we have come to know that Salman Rushdie was stabbed on his neck, but we are not sure about that yet. But he was definitely attacked, and with some assistance, he was taken out of the stage. And he could walk out of the stage. So that's a good sign that he probably is not in a critical situation, but we are not sure because he was taken to hospital in a helicopter. Nevertheless, with Salman Rushdie having to take the exit from the stage, it also proves that Islamism is taking its exit from the intellectual world. With my experience of leaving Islam as a religion back in 2016, I could tell you with hands on my heart that I had received thousands of death threats, insults, and I still receive it by the minute. My family members abandoned me. My own mother gave me up. My best friends found it impossible to take pictures with me because they were so scared. Fear is the food that Islamism feeds on. Fear. But those of us who do not accept Islam because we are afraid, we will eventually win because it's a war that has been declared upon us. It's a war between the pen and the sword, and the pen will reign supreme. Anything that wants to survive in barbaric means will perish. Yes, they have been able to hurt Salman Rushdie physically, but his mind remains sharp as ever. When I had left Islam in 2016, there were some circumstances which had pushed me out of Islam. I was not in a position to condemn the Bataclan attack in France, if you remember. One morning, following the Bataclan attack, I was watching on television that even children were hurt in France. I had to do something. I was a devout Muslim even then. I held my mobile phone in my hand and fired away, condemning the attackers and saying that they were not Islamic, because Islam didn't authorize killing of children. Following my condemnation, the video became viral worldwide, and I started receiving death threats for taking Islamic issue to the world. And I was told, why are you talking about it to the world? It is our problem. We should try to solve ourselves. And they were telling me, why would I not condemn American attack on Afghanistan? Why would I not condemn American invasion in the UK, in Iraq? Why would I not condemn about American foreign policies, etc.? So I was being told to condemn if I had to, with a caveat, which I had rejected. I believe if a country has problems with its foreign relations, foreign policies, those matters need to be addressed at the international arena, like the UN, or during the Security Council discussions, resolution discussions. But we can't correlate a country's foreign relations issues with terrorist attacks on civilians for political purposes. Islamism and fanatic Islam is nothing but a death cult. It's a theocracy which relies on sword. And knives and swords are always used following many instructions which are embodied throughout the hadith pages of the Bukhari and his gang, the so-called Sahih Sitta. Now, Salman Rushdie's fault. What was his fault? He wrote a book. He had written a book. That was his crime. Silent. All must remain silent when I'm talking or be removed. So what was Salman Rushdie's fault? He had written a book. I read the book even in 1988 when the book was banned in Bangladesh, because my inquisitive mind was obliging me to read at least the book for which I was condemning Salman Rushdie. I read it, I smiled about it, and I changed my mind. No more I could find the reason for Salman Rushdie to be tried. And I could find only one book and one lecture, one book by one Mr. Afzal, a professor in India of Islamic history, who had written a book by the name Holy Verses in response to Salman Rushdie's satanic verses. I read the book. I had found that to be reasonably appealing. And I also heard a lecture by famous Sheikh Ahmed Didat about Salman Rushdie's pretext of the book, Satanic Verses. I also found that lecture to be apologetic, rather being analytical. That was the trigger point when I became more religious. Because when someone starts thinking about his religion, initially that person becomes more religious. I was religious all my life. I was preaching Islam and was debating with Christians and atheists since my childhood, rather, when I was 16. But I became more ritualistic after reading Salman Rushdie's satiric verses. I started reading more of his books. And the more I started reading, the more I fell in love with his writing skills. I became more appreciative. I was telling my family members, hey, he's a great writer. The way he wrote, his choice of words and phrases, his literary acumen were great. Why are we so angry with him? Can't we really respond to his writing intellectually? Is there something to really question? Then I started reading the Quran from an analytical perspective. And that led me to read more tafsirs or interpretations of the Quran. The more I read, the more mental gymnastics I had to engage. And then eventually, in 2006, when I took to the stage of YouTube, I started talking about various aspects of Islam, including the issues which Salman Rushdie's satanic verses had prompted me to read Quran from an analytical point of view. And I found that throughout the centuries, the verses that Salman Rushdie was trying to bring question to, like from the chapters of Surah Nazm, were never really resolved. Never, not until now. But although all of those who were protesting against Salman Rushdie were long gone to their homes, many of them had died, many of them became old. But I also found out that many of the leaders who were calling for Salman Rushdie's hanging were living in the UK. Unbelievable. One of them was Chaudhry Mainuddin. Chaudhry Mainuddin, this Jamaat activist, wanted criminal in Bangladesh, who is wanted for genocide in Bangladesh, who was tried in absentia, was hiding in Bangladesh, holding a British citizenship, hiding his past. And in 1989, he took to the streets to protest and to call for Salman Rushdie's hanging in England. This Chaudhry Mainuddin also founded Islamic Forum of Europe. Amazing. And he also became vice chair of the infamous East London Mosque. And he was also a leader of Muslim Council of Britain. He was also a leader of the Muslim Aid charity organization. Unbelievable. He's still free in the UK. He's using various loopholes. He's still safe. Even the British legal system couldn't put him behind the bars for the loopholes he has been using for decades. This devil of a man is still walking free because our civilization, which shelters people like him, also respect freedom of speech. Whereas they believe in solving the differences with a sword. Amazingly, Salman Rushdie was the man who also supported US-led NATO attack, bombing of Yugoslavia in 1999, whereby Slobodan Milosevic was ousted and Kosovo was made safe. Muslim lives were saved from the atrocities of the Serb Christians. Salman Rushdie supported the NATO step to save Muslims. And also, Salman Rushdie condemned US invasion of Iraq. Salman Rushdie also condemned Indian government's steps in Kashmir. That's where his forefathers came from. His forefathers came from Kashmir, and his name, Rushdie, was adopted from Averroes or even Rushdie, the Muslim philosopher's name, because his father had given him that name. So he always voiced his concerns for human rights violations, but still he said that we should always view religion from historical points of view as something which, a process, an idea where we seek the reason of our existence, nothing more. So, my dear friends, today with a heavy heart, I condemn the attack on Salman Rushdie, but at the same time, I also bring to attention the fact that Islam, the Islamism, the fanatic Islam is failing because it has to rely on the sword to survive. It has to rely on threats, abuses, banishment from lands to survive. But when will they know? If they, with one kill of a free thinker, millions are born out of that martyr's blood. Salman Rushdie remains an inspiration for people like me, who can't go to their native country, who can't walk freely, because many of the Western countries have also been infiltrated by extremists. But we will not bow down to terrorism. We will not bow down to extremism. And we will not give up our pens. It's not going to happen. This is not going to happen. I researched Islam from Quran, Hadith, and Tafsir basis, rejected that. Then I had to criticize Islam, and I did. Then, as my mom had suggested, that accept Islam from the Quranic perspective and view it from historical aspects. You don't have to follow Hadith. That's what I did. Listen to my mom. And I could see that if I had engaged mental gymnastics, and if I had engaged lies, somehow I could cling on to Quran-only Islam. But if I had to rely on Quran-only Islam, I had to do a few things. First, I had to lie to myself. Secondly, I had to keep on concocting newer understandings of the verses. Infinite interpretations. I had to invent new meanings of words. And I had to forget religious anthropology. I had to forget historiography. I had to ignore the history, the so-called history of Islam. And I also had to forget my analytical reasoning mind. Because eventually I found out that the entire Islam that we know, Islamic religion itself, was concocted most likely during the 9th century by the Abbasid caliphs. It has no basis. Muhammad never existed. Umar never existed. Uthman never existed. Abu Bakr never existed. Aisha, Fatima never existed. Abu Huraira, the most prolific hadith narrator, never existed. More than only about 40% of Quran existed before the 9th century. If you rely on carbon dating and science, not a single copy of the most revered hadith collection, Bukhari, existed before the 11th century. You can't even find a complete copy of Quran before the 11th century. The so-called history of collecting Bukhari and how Bukhari was handed down to his disciples is laughably weak in its basis. You can't rely on Quran only as well, because if you rely on Quran only, even there you fail, because the infallibility of Quran can't be proven. All this in-depth analysis had triggered me again out of Islam. Total garbage. I'm sorry. Sorry to use the word garbage. Sorry. My apologies. Because that's what it is. I came to the conclusion that the whole religion worships Muhammad, not Allah, primarily. It claims to worship Allah. Rather, it worships a man who never existed by the name Muhammad. Because when you follow someone's footsteps, how he used to sleep, how he used to have sex, how he used to brush his teeth, how he used to walk, how he used to eat, what was his food preferences, what sort of clothing he was wearing, you lose the minimal freedom as a human being. You have sacrificed your freedom of thought. You have sacrificed your analytical mind. You have slaughtered your aesthetic mind, your intellectual ability to think, to create. And then when you are told you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't paint, you can't do sculptures, then what are you left with? You're left with nothing but a brainless life of a zombie which has rejected. So, my dear friends, I found out that Islam as a religion, when it got deformed based on hadiths and tafsirs, it kills your brain. It fries your brain. When we were children in Bangladesh, we were growing up in Bangladesh, when we were children, I was told to memorize a chapter of the Quran in Arabic. And I was not given the meanings of that chapter. Imagine you memorizing a Chinese poetry in perfect Chinese accent without being told what they meant. So thousands and millions of Muslim kids are forced to memorize Quran in Arabic, the language. Most of them, or almost all of them, do not know. So they have to memorize a foreign book in a foreign tongue, in foreign accent, without even being able to question, what am I memorizing? And it takes years to memorize, approximately 3-4 years for a kid to memorize. So it fries your brain. It fries your need to know. So we lose the ability to question from our childhood. Second abuse, physical attack. As a male child, tip of my penis was chopped off. I'm too ashamed to admit it. I was told you can't question. As a girl, the hadith says, you're 6 now, start covering up. Why? Because Aisha was married at 6 and had sex at 9. She was obliged to have sex at 9 with someone of my age, 54, 55. Come on, give me a break. So when I see babies wearing burqas, hijab, I ask them, what the hell are you doing? They say the child is getting used to wearing hijab. I said, in that case, why don't you start telling her, or why don't you start chaining her? she will become used to as well. Because a bird in a cage looks up to the sky, who never had the freedom to fly, will think the bird in the sky is crazy. So they might have been successful in attacking Salman Rushdie. But Salman Rushdie has given freedom of mind to people like me, so that we can take up challenges of Islamism intellectually, more intellectually, and we can laugh. We can laugh at Islamic fanatics, and we can say, you are so weak that you can't face us intellectually. You can't debate with us intellectually. You can't reason with us intellectually. You can't defeat us intellectually. So you act like unruly children. You use your muscle power. You use sword. You use sticks to stop us, because you can't defeat us intellectually. We humans have become the most powerful species in history of this planet, because we relied on our mind. We relied on science. We relied on philosophy. We relied on reason, logic, right? And we have been able to subdue all animals. We can wipe out this planet 23 times over. That much powerful we have become, basing on our mind. So if you think we are going to slaughter our mind, then think again. So you tell me, is this a time for us to be sad because Salman Rushdie was attacked? Or is this a time when we should get revived? Shall we not rather say, this is how we prove our point? So you see, with every attack, you gave birth to hundreds of Mufassir Islam.
Absolutely.
With every attack, you give birth to millions, millions, and millions of Taslim and Nasreen. With every attack, you give us new lifeline. And with every attack, Mufassir Islam gives birth to thousands of his students who will free millions in future. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because in history, you will be thrown into the garbage. And there will come a time when people will glorify us, because we paved the way of freedom of speech. We rely on mouth, and you rely on sword. We rely on love, and you rely on barbaric means. We rely on our mind, and you rely on mindless barbarism. Are you going to win? Do you think you're going to win? Even if you act like a hyena pack, even if you act like a hyena pack, you have to go back into the dungeon of the dark. Because we will reign and freedom will reign. Salute to Salman Rushdie for opening mind of the people like me. Salman Rushdie, you are my boss. I never call anyone my boss. You are my boss. Boss, salute to you. Because you gave me the mind where I started to question. You gave me the voice, the power of the pen. Salman Rushdie, do not despair. Because there are many people who would look at you, stand and stare, because you gave us freedom of speech. We are in a relay race, you know. Salman Rushdie is running behind his generation. My generation is running. He's passing on the baton. I am holding on. Then I am passing on the baton to someone after me, after my generations. There will come a time when this planet will cease to exist. A few billion years from now on, there will be probably no one to praise us, because we don't require praises. We don't talk because we'll be rewarded hereafter. We don't talk because 70 virgins are waiting for us. We don't do good to humanity because Allah is going to reward us. We talk for the sake of our fellow humans. Do not try to correct me, Manna. Do not try to, don't you dare try to correct me about numbers. So I'm telling you.
If you want, can I speak? If you
No,
want.
shut the fuck up when I'm talking.
Done, no problem.
Do not try to talk when Mufassir Islam is talking. Don't you dare talk. Because you know why? Because you know why? Because it is about time we should talk and you should listen. We heard enough of your bullshit. We gave you stages. We gave you time. Come, let's debate. You have attacked someone like us. So now you should listen. Right? Now you should listen. We were trying to talk. We're knocking on your doors. We're writing books. Right? We're appealing to you. We're showing love, respect. We're giving you our ears. And what did you do?
Okay, keep going, no problem. Just keep going.
You attacked us, right? So now, listen to us. Do not talk. You should let me talk, let me finish, then open your mouth. Because we have a fallen soldier who is in hospital, right? Irfan Majumdar.
Yes, sir. They have ignited us, I would say. They've ignited the courage we were practicing, or we're in our heart. We were nurturing for years and years. And Salman Rushdie, I salute him, and I tried to study him for more than 2 or 3 years, and he's our ideology, and I've seen him for quite times in media, and it was I would say that this is an ignite for us, for our courage, for our legacy.
Irfan, they are so weak.
They're so weak, yes, sir.
They're so weak.
Yes, sir.
They will hide in their little comment boxes. They will make videos threatening us, hurling abuses against us. They will act like hyena packs, tribal attitude, you know, throwing us out of our families, out of our countries, and they think they have won.
They think that the fear of blood is going to win us. They are very foolish. This is foolish.
Fools. They're the kings in the lands of the fools.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
They're driven by lust.
Lust.
They're driven by rewards.
They're dreaming heaven and heaven with lust. How come? Can this religion with sword and lust
so weak
actually survive? How you see God in lust? What is this?
Okay, Suchana.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Go for it.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Actually, it's really sad and unexpected that Salman Rushdie has been attacked, and it's also it's proven that freedom of expression, creativity, and showing different perspective, talking about your mind, and giving your opinion, and acquiring knowledge, giving showing the things from another perspective, perception. It's still not can't be possible in this era, in modern era, in the world. And people like Salman Rushdie and country state like United States, New York City, and it's really sad. No, it's like that. We're so minority group, and we're not safe anywhere, everywhere in the world. Who are want to think not traditional and conventional, and who wants to learn something new and want to think about everything, because the world, the society, whole the system, universe, it's a continuous process. NASA people are doing research, and they are continuously inventing something and discovered something about world, universe, and it's everything is continuous process. And as a researcher, qualitative researcher, and as a human activist and human rights students, uh, everything is depends on different perspective. And the world, me, Mufassil sir, everyone, we have the different faces, we have different kind of cultures, different kind of thinking. We are even not the same people. So and we also have the different any kind of religion. So it's a continuous process. So it's really sad that in the basic things, the freedom of expression and the acquiring knowledge, and it's not safe yet. So it's really sad. It's shameful. It's really shameful. And we're talking about for so many years about the same thing. And to me, it's really depressing that a place like United States it's happened. So what about the Asian country and other conservative people? So how vulnerable we are in our country, in another country, an Islamic country. United States, the powerful states, and they are. So it's really sad. I don't have to say anything, and I appreciate sir's speech, because today you are something it's a bit arrogant, aggressive, and I see it in a positive way, because you cannot resist everything. You are a human being, so there is a limit. So we can realize the whole picture, to see the Salman Rushdie sir situation. So it's really sad and hope for the best.
Also, unfortunately, the Muslims who are liberal Muslims are also held captive by the handful of terrorists.
Yes.
But this is also corrupting the minds of the young people, because only a few days ago, when Ayman al-Zawahiri was killed by the Americans, we seen in social media that thousands of Bangladeshi Muslims were rejoicing the fact that one of them became martyr. They were not rejoicing that he was killed, rather he became a martyr. So they were calling Ayman al-Zawahiri a martyr, and from that sense they were rejoicing. And also they were saying that many new Ayman al-Zawahiri will be born. So the support for Al-Qaeda has grown in Muslim countries, including Bangladesh, although the leader of Al-Qaeda, leaders now, because bin Laden and Zawahiri were killed. Now, Baghdadi was killed, the leader of Islamic State, but they keep on breeding newer terrorists. I call upon Bangladesh Prime Minister to arrest a man called Abbasi, who had openly supported Al-Qaeda and who walks free. He should be arrested immediately, because his freedom and Al-Qaeda supporters' freedom rather prompts more people like him to support Al-Qaeda. And also it makes, it gives a message to young people who are, usually young fools, I would say, that without digging deep into Al-Qaeda history and ideology, they will support Al-Qaeda. So I suggest and I implore the Bangladesh Prime Minister to arrest people like Abbasi immediately. And also I call upon those who want to stand by the ideology of Al-Qaeda or extremism, or those who support stabbing of Salman Rushdie, to come forward and debate with us. What did he write wrong? What did Salman Rushdie write wrong? Isn't there a verse which is questionable in Quran? There are many things which are questionable in Quran. Many things, grammatically, literary sense, anthropology, carbon dating, you name it. I will name thousands of problems in Quran unless you become a hypocrite. So I would say, come and prove us wrong. Why do you want to take up sword? Because you can't win. Even they are cowards. They can't fight face to face even. They are bloody cowards. If you're so brave, declare war as a nation and we'll go for war against you. Come on, show us what you get. Because something that they are going to win because we tolerate, but those eventually who tolerate more will win. But at the same time, it is our duty to speak, because if we don't speak, those who do not know will follow suit in following extremist views. I go on to Manna. Manna, your turn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mufassil,
Welcome.
for letting me to speak. But today, before I'm going to start, I will ask you a simple question. I just tried, but you got much more angry than before. I have never seen you before. Today, how much you angry? It's okay, no problem. And in this station, I will just listen. I will not say anything. I will not ask anything, and I don't want.
Do you support Salman Rushdie's attack on Salman Rushdie?
No.
Do you support banning of Salman Rushdie's satanic verses?
No.
Do you support banning of Taslim Nasri's shame, Lodja?
Taslim Nasri, actually, in 2018, I have seen she made some kind of dirty rumor, some kind of useless rumor. After that, I never support her.
So you don't have to support her to ban her. Or you don't have to ban her to support her.
Say again, please.
You don't have to ban her as because you don't support her.
Yeah.
So just tell me, do you support banning her writings?
No, I don't support.
Good. Do you support her inability, or my inability, or Mufti Masood's inability, or Asad's inability?
Get him out, just any kind of mullah. Because in our country,
do you support threats against people like me?
No, I don't support.
Do you support that I have the right, or
yes, I support much more than anybody else around us.
Have the right. The government, Bangladesh government has the duty to ensure our security in Bangladesh. Do you think
they should be?
They should.
And they should have done it long before, in my opinion.
And I also apologize if I had lost my temper with you.
No, it's okay. You don't have to say anything. No, it's okay. My fault.
We are going through a very disturbing time.
Yeah, I understand.
Because
since I'm talking to you, one more thing I would like to say now. You said about your security. The government of us should have done it long before. In not only my opinion, in everyone's opinion.
We know.
Once I see your video, I pay highest level of respect, highest level of attention on that. Because whatever I learn, I have never learned before. It's my clear word. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I have been able to open your
You just keep going, Mr. Mufassil. You just keep going, keep doing, keep writing.
Thank you.
We are supporting you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's quite reassuring. And I can tell you, if we are never safe. People like me are never safe.
Yes,
but if something happens to me, do not give up.
Tomorrow I'll go to Bangladesh and go to make a case in High Court by myself. I promise these people, in front of these people, really. And I believe that no one is there to attack you in our country.
A country, if it claims to be developing, has the duty to develop from all aspects.
Yes.
Our freedom of speech right must also be ensured by the present government of Bangladesh. And we should never vote Jamaat to power.
Never ever.
You should
Because
never
if I see
vote.
or if I read the history in
Wow.
1971, this is only one thing. I don't like them.
You should
And
be
I don't
surprised
like
to
them,
know,
the people who support them.
you should be surprised to know that
Yes.
Salman Rushdie had condemned Hindutva fanaticism. Salman Rushdie had condemned Narendra Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, for fanaticism.
Yeah.
How about that? That's what called the beauty of human dignity. That's called freedom of speech. Now we are going to end this session of English program. Then do not go anywhere, because I'm going to just snap
No.
from YouTube. Then we immediately will go back again on live, and then it will be in Bangla. Hold on. Those of you who have joined us, thank you for being with us. Now we are going to end this session, but we'll be immediately coming back, and the program will continue in Bengali.